this session of the North American Muppets Council series on who or what is Ahura Mazda, titled Understanding Ahura Mazda. The North American Muppets Council Institute of Zoroastrian Studies sets out to help the world understand not just the details of the Zoroastrian Daina, the faith, but to appreciate it in a way that we can resonate with it. This session will be recorded, and the recordings will be available on the NAMC website. Speakers and participants will share their opinions in the interest of knowledge building and for sharing on internet sites globally for the good of all. We do not edit recordings, so if there is something you wish to correct, please interrupt me at that moment and correct it. Gratitude to Ervat Saib Temten Mirza for permitting me to put this together, and the session will also be shared by Zoroastrians.net, courtesy Mr. Yazdi Tantra. Today's panel 3, the 28th of September 2025, and we will have Mobadyar Mashad Khosraviani, Ervat Kavas Desai, Mobadyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri, and Mr. Jahangir Sarosh. But let us spend a couple of minutes framing the context of the question. Who or what is Ahura Mazda? When Prophet Ashok Zarathustra in the Gathas chooses to dedicate, the concept of choice is important, but choice to dedicate one's entire self with that responsibility, dedicating the life and the breath with the good mind to Ahura Mazda, that creative energy that guides. Ahu, the creative energy, Ra, the guide, Maz, the great, Da, the wisdom. But with that, the words and actions have been dedicated to the conscience, Sarosh, and to Asha, righteousness, which is represented by the fire. And through Asha, represented by the fire, we venerate Ahura Mazda. I'm grateful to my mother, Mrs. Ram Mohan Jaru, here with me. For these slides, I'm using from the Zoroastrian Youth Congress held by the ZTF in London, where the youth resonated with this idea that we venerate Ahura Mazda and request help through the fire and the mind. And this Mazda has at the beginning design creation, its laws, its wisdom. And through the mind, it says it has given us the power to take action and to choose with conviction, this concept of var, to align our purpose and our desire with Ahura Mazda. And as we manifest Ahura Mazda to achieve all that is good, we are also told in the Gathas in verse 31.22 that we are to be the Urvatho. The word Urvatho is the resonator, that person who is loyal to Ahura Mazda. And with that, we get all that is required in order to manifest the good through Ahura Mazda and sustain the world. It still leaves us with the question, how do we understand Ahura Mazda, that which is in each one and in all creation? For which we need knowledgeable speakers. And our first speaker of the day is Mobadyar Mashad Khosraviani. For over a decade, Mobadyar Mashad Khosraviani has championed gender equality, as she says, as a Mobadyar in the Zoroastrian faith. She says she is determined to bridge the long-standing divide between men and women and became the change she wished to see. And in 2012, at just 17 years of age, Mobadyar Mashad became the youngest female Zoroastrian Mobadyar in Iran and the first in North America and Europe, an achievement recognized by both Mobbit councils. Mobadyar Mashad Khosraviani was born in Tehran and raised in Toronto and trained across Iran and Canada. She is guided by the Zoroastrian principles of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, and inspires others through spiritual service and advocacy. Her pioneering work has been featured internationally, including by the BBC, and is recognized by leading Zoroastrian organizations. Mobadyar Mashad has spoken at global conferences, interfaith gatherings, and community events all across the globe, where her voice resonates as both a spiritual leader and a champion of equality. As Mobadyar Mahshad has written, alongside her Mobadyar duties, she has built a successful career in human resources, serving as HR Director for international organizations. She also holds an honors degree in human resources and an MBA, which she integrates into her leadership and community work. In 2021, Mobadyar Mahshad moved to London after marrying her husband and has recently embraced motherhood with the birth of their son. Over to you, Mobadyar Mahshad, and thank you so much for being with us today.
We cannot hear you, Mahshad.
I just realized I was muted.
Yes.
Can everyone see my screen, first of all?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much, dear Dr. Karishma, for that kind introduction, and as well as NAMC for having me today. Also, thank you again for allowing this change in order so I could present and be with you guys today, but also have the time to go and look after my baby, who's quite unwell at the moment. I'm deeply humbled to be here, but I feel like I should begin by saying that I am not a scholar of Zoroastrian religion, and my engagement with our religion has always been out of personal curiosity and affection than professional calling. In my everyday life, my expertise belong in a very different domain. I work with CEOs and leaders on questions and people and strategy in HR. So today I approach this subject not as an expert, but as a fellow seeker, and I am honored to be able to share few reflections in the company of such learned scholars and respected priests. Khashnautra Ahura Mazda. I'd like to begin with a question that will guide our reflection today. One I invite you to hold until the very end. When we speak of Ahura Mazda, who is Ahura Mazda, and equally who is not? This is not a question of mere doctrine. It is the question of life itself. To ask who Ahura Mazda is to ask what is the nature of ultimate reality? What is the source of goodness and truth? And how are we as human beings meant to live in response? The Gathas composed by the prophet Zarathustra do not give us abstract theories. Instead, they give us a voice of prayer, devotion, and discovery. And through them, we meet Ahura Mazda as creator, as wisdom, as guide, as companion, and as eternal Lord. And so I will, in my humble opinion today, approach the question of who is Ahura Mazda and equally who is not in these 5 dimensions. We read in Yasna 44, Zarathustra asks in Mazda, who is the father of truth? Who makes the course of sun and stars? Who makes the moon wax and wane? These and more I long to know. The answer is, of course, Ahura Mazda, the source of all life, the one who set the cosmos in order and who upholds it still. Creation is not random. It is infused with meaning, sustained by wisdom, and directed toward goodness. The very name Mazda means wisdom. Zarathustra proclaims in Yasna 31.8, Doth do I conceive thee, O Mazda, as the first and the last, as the most adored by reason, as the most powerful in acts, for through thy spirit thou didst create the world, and thy wisdom, didst order it right. Ahura Mazda is not the architect of cruelty. He's not divided against himself. He does not create both truth and the lie, light and darkness, good and evil. Instead, Ahura Mazda is the Lord of wisdom, the source of truth, the wellspring of goodness, the constant light. He is not the God of contradiction, but the God of clarity. He is not both sides of the cosmic struggle, but the origin of only one, the side of Asha, truth, righteousness, harmony, and life. We read in Yasna 45.9, the wise Lord has established rewards and penalties. Evil to the evildoer, blessing to the follower of truth. Doth Mazda upholds the law of Asha for all. Unlike traditions that imagine God as the source of both and evil, Zarathustra makes it very clear that Ahura Mazda is wholly good. The moral struggle of the world is not a conflict within God, but a conflict within creation, a battle between truth and falsehood, Asha and Daruj. The Ashem Bahu expresses this intimacy. Truth is the best good. It is happiness. Happiness comes to the one who lives in truth for the sake of the best truth itself. Here, Ahura Mazda is not an abstract principle. He is present as the source of joy and peace, close to those who seek him with sincerity. Our prophet Zarathustra taught that Ahura Mazda is not only the creator of the world, but the companion of every human soul. He does not sit far away on a throne of power. He walks with us in every choice we make. When we choose truth or lie, when we lift another with kindness, when we plant even one seed of goodness in the soil of this world, we are not alone. We are co-creators with him. And this is the wonder. Ahura Mazda, the eternal wisdom, has no hands in this world but ours. Mazda has no voice here but ours. Ahura Mazda has no heart here but ours. In Yasna 43.5, Zarathustra prays, I realized thee, O Mazda, to be holy, when I beheld thee as the primeval source of life, when I beheld thee as the eternal, when I beheld thee as the one who rules with Asha, the Lord of all that exists. Even his name reveals the truth. Ahura, the life giver, the source of being, Mazda, great wisdom, mighty knowledge. And together, Ahura Mazda means the wise Lord, great life-giving wisdom. And when Zarathustra asks him to declare his name in Hormozd, the reply resounds with clarity. I am the protector. I am best holiness. I am wisdom. I am understanding. I am the Lord of life. I am the beneficent. I am free from harm. I am health-giving. I am unconquerable. Ahura Mazda is protector, beneficent, life-giving, healer. Nowhere is he the deceiver, the destroyer, the punisher who delights in suffering. So when we ask, who is Ahura Mazda, and equally, who is not? Ahura Mazda is not the divided God of contradictions. Ahura Mazda is not the author of the lie. Ahura Mazda is not the destroyer of his own creation. Ahura Mazda is wisdom, the eternal light. Ahura Mazda is truth, the path of Asha. Ahura Mazda is goodness, the life giver, the protector, the healer. And here's the wonder. Ahura Mazda is not only beyond us, but within reach of every heart. He does not only rule the stars, he whispers in our conscience. He does not only sustain creation, he calls us to sustain one another. Our prophet Zarathustra taught, each time we choose truth, each time we act with kindness, each time we plant one seed of goodness, we do not stand alone. We stand with Ahura Mazda. And so I say to you, in my humble opinion, Ahura Mazda is not waiting in some distant heaven. He is here now, waiting in our choices, waiting in our courage, waiting in our. Ahura Mazda is the light that conquers darkness. Ahura Mazda is the truth that overcomes the lie. And Ahura Mazda is the wisdom that lives in us. May we live so fully in light that when the final renewal comes, it will be clear. We were never apart from him at all. We were always his co-workers, his companions, his children, returning home to the light that was always our source. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mohammad Mashad Khosraviani, for that excellent introduction to our understanding of who or what is Ahura Mazda. Our next speaker of the day is Ervat Sahib Kavas Desai. Ervat Kavas Desai is a student of the Zarathustri religion, as he says, particularly its history and evolution. Ervat Kavas Desai was the founding president of the Zoroastrian Association of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and continues to actively participate in their monthly adult religion classes. Ervat Kavas was one of the first office bearers of the North American Mobbeds Council and has presented papers at the North American Mobbeds Council seminars and at the North American Congresses. Over to you, Ervat Sahib Kavas, to help us appreciate and understand Ahura Mazda. Thank you.
In the last two sessions, we have learned that Ahura Mazda's attributes include being the omniscient, omnipotent, and benevolent creator of the universe, embodying truth, goodness, wisdom, and light. He is the source of righteousness and justice, a purely spiritual being with no physical form, and is often depicted through his divine manifestations, the Ameshaspenta. Today, I wish to talk about the origin and meaning of the words Ahura and Mazda. When we perform our daily Kashti prayers, the first prayer starts with the words Kemna Mazda. The second prayer starts with the words Ahura Mazda Khodai. And the third prayer starts with the words Jasame Avange Mazda, Mazda Esno Ami, Mazda Esno Zarthushris. According to the Bundahishan, Ahu, the Supreme Being, shared the first sound, the vibration of which created the universe out of his own substance, which is eternal light. This is identical to the opening words of the book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. According to our teachings, this is the vibration of the Ahura Mazda, the vibration that created the universe. Noon teaches us that Ahura has two aspects. Ahu, the unnameable, impersonal supreme deity who is unknowable and inconceivable, except that Ahu is, and Ahura, the personal god of creation who is conceivable. Ahu is called Shaida and Shahid, light of lights, and is said to be the shoreless and motionless ocean of light, about whom nothing can be conceived. An infinitesimal part of the motionless Ahu displayed intense brilliancy, Kshaita, caused by the first prime motion due to divine thought conceived for the creation of the universe. This first manifestation of light is the Ahu named in the Yatha Uvedya prayer, and we call this first sound or vibration Ahunavar, the plan of Ahu, or the prayer of creation, the most powerful of all Zoroastrian prayers. In Hinduism, it is known as Om. In Mahayana Buddhism, it is Namo Abhitabhaya, and in Judaism and Christianity, it is Logos or the Word. Sorry. The spiritual meaning behind the Ahunavar prayer is that Ahu unfolds his plan for creation, and thereby the immutable law which governs the universe, the law of Asha and his divine attributes, the Amesha Speta and Yazatas worthy of worship, manifest themselves. The Amesha Spenta and Yazatas, having divine consciousness and wisdom of Ahumano, formulate the universe. Ahura's divine power and authority, Shatra, can be attained by humanity by advancing on the spiritual path, and therefore it is incumbent upon humankind to help others along the path, thus leading all of creation back to Ahu and realizing everlasting bliss. The fundamental Zoroastrian creed can therefore be summarized in the names and meanings of the Amesha Spenta. God, Ahura Mazda, having given man the good mind, Vahumano, to travel the path of righteousness, Asha Vahishta, towards attaining the divine kingdom, Kshatravairya, will enable man through devotion, Spenta Almighty, to reach perfection, Hauratat, and attain immortality, Amritat. The opening paragraph of the Vandidat says, the first of the good lands and countries which I, Mazda, created was Airyana Vaija by the Vanguhi Daitya. The Avesta describes Airyana Vaija as the seed land of the Aryans. It was at the center of the earth, and its very center stood the mountain Harabareza, which some identify with Mount Elbrus. Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, the Indian mathematician and astronomer, wrote that this land is now covered by the North Polar ice cap. The Greeks called this land Hyperborea. The description of Airyana Vaija, and that is a map of what they call, or what we think is Airyana Vaija. The description of Airyana Vaija has led scholars to identify it with Hyperborea, the land beyond the north wind of Greek mythology and legend. In the 19th century, Herman Wirth, a Dutch historian, and William F. Warren, the first president of Boston University, posited that this land was within the Arctic Circle. Both Wirth and Warren named this land Hyperborea after the Greek legends of the Olympians and called it the true Garden of Eden. Citing Bal Gangadhar Tilak and the Austro-Hungarian ethnologist Karl Penter, John Godolphin Bennett, a British mathematician and scientist, authored a research paper entitled The Hyperborean Origin of the Indo-European Culture, in which he claimed the Indo-European homeland was in the far north, which he considered the Hyperborea of classical antiquity. More recently, H.P. Blavatsky, René Gagnon, and Julius Evola all shared the belief in the Hyperborean polar origins of mankind and its subsequent solidification and devolution. According to them, Hyperborea was the golden age polar center of civilization and spirituality. The legends and location of Aryana Vaja or Hyperborea are now being proven to be true based on scientific fact. In 2001, archaeologists discovered evidence of a small but highly sophisticated group of people who lived along the Yana River in northeastern Siberia 32,000 years ago. Today, Siberia is a vast and freezing wasteland, but 32,000 years ago, it was the only region in the northern hemisphere that was not covered with an ice sheet. Only the mountains were ice-capped. Evidence suggests it was a virtual paradise, filled with vegetation, an amazing array of mammals, and an extremely wide variety of diversity of bird life. Scholars named it the Yana culture, and recent scientific focus is revealing there is more than a little truth to what had been considered for centuries to be nothing but myth and legend. According to Zoroastrian texts, the Aryas, meaning the noble ones, are said to have had their original home in the fair land of Aryana Vaja. These people, commonly called Aryans, have since been referred to as the Proto-Indo-Europeans. The name Aryana eventually evolved into Iran. Yeshna 9 says, while performing his daily prayers, Zarathustra saw a vision and asked, Ko nareahi, that is, who art thou? To which the vision replied, Ahem Ammi Homa Ashwa Durosha, I am the holy Homa Durosha. Homa then goes on to name the 4 people who were rewarded with famous sons after performing the Homa ritual. Vyogwant, who fathered Yima, Atvya, who fathered Tretona, Thrita, who fathered Urvaksha and Kashasp, and finally Paurushaspa, who fathered Zarathustra. We believe that the first prophet of the Aryas, the Proto-Indo-European peoples, was Homa Durosha, who lived before the present Ice Age, and who named his god Mazda and is worshipped Mazda. The name Mazda is a compound name, Mazda meaning great, mighty, or powerful, and Da meaning to create or conceive, and therefore Mazda literally means the great creator, the creator of all. Zarathustra refers to this faith as Pauryotakesha, the faith of the ancients, and that is why the present-day followers of Zarathustra refer to themselves as Mazdeasni Zartoshtris, meaning the followers of Mazda worshipping the religion as taught by Zarathustra. However, within this all-encompassing faith were distinct elements of nature worship. Masume Price, a specialist in ancient Mesopotamian studies, writes, the pre-Zoroastrian religion of the ancient Iranians centered on nature and natural cults, but mostly belonging to such as the cults of water and fire. Elements such as water and fire were personified. Water itself became a goddess, Avahadi Suranahita, with specific prayers and libations made to her. Fire, Atash, the son of God, was also worshipped with offerings consisting of clean, dry fuel, incense, animal fat if available. According to the Vandidat, Yima, King Jamshid of the Shahnameh, was warned by Mazda about the impending destruction of the wicked world by snow and ice, and he was commanded to build a var, or underground enclosure, and to take there a set of specially chosen people, together with the seeds of the finest trees, the best fruits, and the most fragrant flowers, and also a pair each of the best and most useful animals. With the coming of the Ice Age and the destruction of their homeland some 30 millennia ago, the Proto-Indo-Europeans migrated through the Pontic-Caspian steppes across Eurasia into Anatolia, the Baltics, Central Asia, Iran, India, Mycenae, and Scandinavia. The branch which migrated to Iran and India is known as the Proto-Indo-Iranians. Following Babylonian and Assyrian sources, some historians believe that during the southward migration following the destruction of the Aryan homeland, one of the largest of the ancient Iranian tribes was the Kasi or Kashi, which in ancient languages and also in the modern languages of the people of Gilan means fair-eyed and fair-faced. The name of the city of Kashan and the name of the Caspian Sea are relics of this ancient Caspian tribe. Many relics of the Kasi tribe have been found in the Khorramabad region of Iran, including paintings in the cave of Dushe, and that date back 15,000 BC. These first Aryan inhabitants of Iran were polytheists, worshipping, as most other primitive people, natural phenomena such as fire, water, wind, the moon, and the sun, but gradually developed a cult that is today known as Mithraism or Kishmer. This is one of the frescoes from the cave of Duche, 18,000 years ago. The Indo-Iranians believed that there was a natural law which ensured that nature followed its course. Day and night continued, and the sun maintained its regular movement. They called this law Asha, that came to represent the cosmic order. Asha had ethical implications and governed human conduct as well. Truth, honesty, loyalty, and courage were praised as being necessary for the natural order, and druj or vice was identified as disturbing this order. One vital aspect of Asha was to enforce respect for the sacredness of a man's given word. The solemn oath was called Varuna, and the covenant was called Mithra. Men accused of breaking their word were punished by being submitted to an ordeal by fire and water. Mithra and Varuna became divinities linked with fire and water. Varuna became son of the waters and later evolved into Varuna Apamnapat, the Yazat of the oath and truth and lord of the ordeal by water. The Greeks know Napat as Neptune. Mithra evolved into the lord of fire and covenant. There also existed a number of abstract gods personifying different concepts. For example, Mithra was also worshipped as a god of war, fighting on behalf of good and protecting the virtuous. Aryaman was the divinity personifying friendship. Ashtad represented justice. Vereti, courage. Sarosha, obedience, and Verathagna, god of victory. During the migration of the Proto-Indo-Europeans from their Arctic homeland, the ancient religion began to be corrupted by the destructive elements of nature worship. The deification of the natural powers, both good and evil, followed, and the religion of the Aryas degenerated into polytheism, idol worship, and animal sacrifice. In Ha 29 of the Gathas, the soul of creation cries out, "Unto you the Lord of Mother Earth complained. Me all around do passion and rapine and violence and mish. Reveal therefore unto me a way out through a Savior." And God replied, "One such here is known to me, the only one who hath listened to our commands, Zarathustra Spitma." We believe that Zarathustra was born to return the religion to its uncorrupted state, to the Pauyo Takesha, the religion of the ancients, and to fight the excesses of the followers of evil. According to the late Jatindra Mohan Chatterjee, India's leading Vedic Sanskrit scholar, Zarathustra is one and the same as Parsurama of the Vedas, who the Rig Veda tells us is the sixth incarnation of Vishnu, who was born to subdue the power of the warrior clans and curb their evil practices. Even as a child, Zarathustra had questions about the origin of the world, the existence of good and evil, the cause of pain and misery, and the mysteries and purpose of life. Paurushaspa, being unable to satisfactorily answer Zarathustra's questions, sent him to Burzil Kurush, a renowned teacher and the preceptor of Zarathustra, who too was unable to answer his questions. Finally, Zarathustra decided to find the answers for himself by posing his questions directly to Mazda. At the age of 20, Zarathustra went into seclusion, where he could spend time in contemplation to seek answers to his questions about life. He is said to have gone to Mount Ushidarena, where he spent 10 years, during which he received a divine revelation. The word Ushidarena means holder of consciousness, so it is believed that Zarathustra's going to Mount Ushidarena meant delving into his own mind and inner self, which is the holder of consciousness, to find the answers to life's eternal questions, which are contained in Ha 44 of the Gathas. New faiths have to be, IJS Tarapurwala says, new faiths have to be grafted onto old ones. All great teachers have built upon the past traditions of the race. They have come to lead. They alter and adapt the eternal ancient wisdom to the particular needs of that race. So the particular message which that race is destined to leave for humanity. So also the Lord Zoroaster found a certain massive tradition in Iran, and the message he gave to this branch of the human race was based upon what they had inherited from a dim and distant past. The religious traditions inherited by these two great peoples, the Hindus and the Persians, were therefore the common Aryan traditions. In the Avesta, the great teachers of the Pauryatakesha, the ancient faith, have been invoked, and a good many of them have been mentioned by name. This ancient faith has been named the Mazdayasni faith, the faith that worships Mazda, the great Lord of all. The religion of Zarathustra bears the same name, but with the epithet Zarathustris, that is taught by Zarathustra, added to it. This confirms that the prophet built up his system upon the ancient traditions of the race. Zarathustra appended the name Ahura as a prefix to Mazda. Ahura is also a compound name. Ahu meaning life, existence, breath, or spirit, and Ra meaning to give or bestow. And therefore, Ahura means the giver of life, and Ahura Mazda means the giver of life and creator of matter. Zarathustra posits a single creator god, Ahura Mazda, and declares that he alone is worthy of our adoration. Reveal unto me, says Zarathustra, that name of thine that is the greatest, best, fairest, most effective. And Ahura replied, my first name is Ammi, I am. This concept is also found in the Rig Veda, where Brahman connotes the ultimate reality. In the beginning, there was neither naught nor aught. Then there was neither sky nor atmosphere above. Then there was neither day nor night, light nor darkness, only the existent one, self-contained. The worship of Ahura Mazda does not require any image of his for worshipping. To him is attributed no form, no shape, no color. From him emanates immense light from which all glory, all bounty, and all goodness flow. No evil comes from him. There is no need for any intermediary between Ahura Mazda and man. No offerings are needed, as the religion given by Ahura Mazda to Zarathustra is a religion of devotion, and he has put a divine essence in everyone, the immortal soul, which is the potential force of all progress. Having arrived at the basic idea of the unity of God, Zarathustra found himself confronted by the problem of the eternal conflict between good and evil since the dawn of creation. The prophet speaks of two primal forces opposed to and at war with each other. Spentamanyu, the giver of the life associated with light, which promotes Asha, and Angramenyu, the harbinger of non-life associated with darkness, which frustrates Asha. These two forces, later described in the younger Avesta as the twin spirits, do not exist independently, but each in relation to the other, they meet in the higher unity of Ahura Mazda. These two forces existed at the very beginning of the universe and are eternally in conflict with each other. As the prophet says, truly shall I speak of the primal forces of the world, of whom the very holy thus said to the hostile one, neither are thoughts, nor teachings, nor wills, neither are choices, nor words, nor acts, nor are consciences, nor souls agree. Today, science describes these forces as the subatomic level as protons having a positive charge and electrons having a negative charge, without which an atom, the fundamental building block of the universe, cannot exist. The first prayer taught to every Zoroastrian child is the Hashem Vahu, which translates as eternal bliss to the one who practices righteousness for the sake of righteousness. However, the deeper spiritual meaning behind this prayer is, once in the distant past, I was in spirit form with him. Now, in accordance with his plan, I am in physical form away from him. One day in the future, I shall return in spiritual form to him. The humans were created by Ahura Mazda to fight against evil, which would eventually lead to the triumph of good and the establishment of a paradise on earth, through their positive choices and adherence to the principles of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. However, man must make the choice between good and evil and live with the consequences of this choice both in this world and the next. Zarathustra highlights the fundamental principle of free will, the inherent ability of the individual to choose between good and evil. This choice is central to the concept of liberation in Zoroastrianism, which is achieved through aligning oneself with good thoughts, words, and deeds. This choice is not passive, but an active participation in the cosmic struggle between good and evil. This is the journey of life itself, where individuals, guided by conscience and reason, strive to discern and choose the path of righteousness over falsehood. This conscious effort to live ethically and morally is seen as the way to contribute to the ultimate triumph of good in this world, which is liberation to the influence of evil. Life is a continuous process of choosing between good and evil. The conscious effort, the conscious choice, reflecting an individual's sacred exploration, is the path towards personal and cosmic liberation, ultimately leading to a state of perfect unity with the divine. The concept of God in Zoroastrianism, centered around Ahura Mazda, offers a profound view of the divine as a singular source of truth, righteousness, and cosmic order. Through his embodiment of Asha, Ahura Mazda provides both a moral framework and a cosmic force that guides the universe towards the ultimate goal of harmony and justice. Zoroastrianism's strict monotheism, with its emphasis on ethical living and human agency, is the cosmic struggle, provides a rich and complex understanding of the divine that continues to inspire both religious thought and philosophical inquiry to this day. Throughout Zoroastrian history, the one principle that has remained constant and unchanged is that God is seen as eternal light, Angnanagra Raucha. According to the Bundahishan, at the beginning of time, Ahura Mazda created the universe out of his own substance, which is eternal light. Dr. Kenneth Vincent wrote, both the ancient Magi and the modern followers of Zoroaster see God as light, the oldest non-anthropomorphic conception of God. God is the light above us, around us, and within us. For Zoroaster, the contrast between light and darkness is always a metaphor for the conflict between good and evil. In speaking of the God of the Magi, the 3rd century Greek philosopher Porphyry wrote, God's body is light and his spirit truth. In more modern times, Einstein saw all matter as frozen light, and Stephen Hawking stated, when you break subatomic particles down to their most elemental level, you are left with nothing but pure light. There is no wonder, therefore, that Zarathustra adopted fire, representing light, as the outward symbol of his religion. Atho Ahura Mazda Putra, the Son of God, the purest of the elements, incapable of being defiled, it symbolizes not only the energy of creation, but also the divine spark within all of creation. We know Atasha Mino Karko as the energy of creation. Although a large portion of Zarathustra's own words have been lost to us and to history, Greek historians indicate that Zarathustra composed some 2 million words of verse. His uncompromising monotheism has very clearly come down to us in his Gathas, where again and again he exhorts us that only Ahura Mazda is worthy of our adoration. Unfortunately, shortly after Zarathustra's time, elements of the old polytheistic beliefs began to creep back into Zoroastrianism. The names of Indra, Varuna, and Mithra appear in Zoroastrian prayers, and there is absolutely no question that these are pre-Zoroastrian divinities, which continue to hold prominent positions in the Vedas. Indra is the equivalent of Varathagna or Behram Yazata, Mithra or Mer Yazata, and Varuna in the female form Varunani is Ava Adisur Zazata, more commonly known as Anaita. The names of these and other pre-Zoroastrian divinities subsequently evolved into the Yazatas, whose names are incorporated as the days of the month in the Zoroastrian calendar. Zoroastrianism, which became the state religion under 3 Persian dynasties, entered Western history when the Greek historians first encountered the followers of Zarathustra during the Median and Achaemenid dynasties. At that time, the Magoi, now known as Magi, one of the 6 Median tribes and a hereditary priestly clan, had become the guardians of the religion and were the tribe entrusted with the performance of all religious rituals and the safeguarding of all religious practices. The extent to which the Magi altered the original teachings of Zarathustra remain a subject of intense scholarly debate. After the conquest of Persia by Alexander the Accursed, the Magi appear to have faded from history until they are seen again at the birth of Christ. It remains an open fact that Zarathustra's religion was distorted and reinterpreted in many respects by the Magi after they took over the reins of the religion during the sovereignty of the Achaemenians. The reintroduction of pre-Zoroastrian divinities, the concept of dualism, the timeline of creation, the coming of the Saoshyant, the consecration of fire, the consumption of bull's urine, and the confession of sins during the Nahan ritual, and the mode of disposal of the dead can all be attributed to the Magian leadership and are most probably of late Zoroastrian origin. Late Sasanian origin, The Babylonian scholar priest Berosus writing some 70 years after the reign of Artaxerxes II of the Achaemenid dynasty, records that the emperor was the first to make cult statues of divinities and had them placed in temples in many of the major cities of the empire. Berosus substantiated Herodotus when the latter says the Persians knew no images of gods until Artaxerxes II erected those images. On the means of sacrifice, Herodotus adds, they raise no altar, light no fire, pour no libations. The Persians believed that to lock God within four walls was the height of folly. According to John Hinnels, in the decades immediately prior to the birth of Jesus, Zoroastrianism was not a distant or shadowy presence, but the world's most powerful religion. The Christian belief in the devil, heaven, hell, the end of the world, the resurrection of the dead, and the final judgment are not just reminiscent of Zoroastrian beliefs. They have been taken directly from Zoroastrian scriptures. As Lawrence Mills puts it, the now undoubted and long since suspected fact that it pleased the divine power to reveal some of the most important articles of our Catholic creed, first to the Zoroastrians and through their literature to the Jews and ourselves. Mithra had long been identified with Mars, the Roman god of war. In the year 245 AD, the Emperor Diocletian proclaimed that henceforth Mithra would be the guardian of the Roman Empire. Until Constantine received baptism on his deathbed in 337 AD, Mithraism was by far the most prevalent religious belief in the world. The Mercian Order of St. George maintains that Constantine very seriously considered conversion to Mithraism and the adoption of Zoroastrianism as the state religion of the Byzantine Empire. Unfortunately, however, Constantine was not prepared to accept the Zoroastrian tenet that every individual is responsible for his own actions and will meet his corresponding reward in the hereafter. Having lived a sinful and evil life, he wanted full pardon and forgiveness for his sins, which he could get by accepting baptism and the last rites, and therefore he chose Christianity over Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism through Mithraism left its final impact on Christianity. December the 21st, the day of the winter solstice, was celebrated as Mithra's birthday, the day of the rebirth of the sun, and was known as Yalda, which in later Christian tradition became known as Yule. This holiday was widely celebrated in the Western and Eastern Roman empires and was called Saturnalia. In 335 AD, the Council of Rome, convened by Pope Julius I, decreed this day to be celebrated as the birthday of Jesus. Due to various calendar reforms, the date moved by 4 days to December 25th. John Hinnels, in his treatise on Zoroastrianism, says, to Hinduism and Buddhism it is said to have given the belief of a savior to come. But it is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam which owe the most to Zoroastrianism. Beliefs in a devil, heaven, hell, the end of the world, the resurrection of the dead, and the final judgment, all these are thought to have developed in Jewish, Christian, and Muslim thought as a result of Zoroastrian influence. Perhaps no other religion has influenced so many people in so many continents over so many centuries. We have come a long way since James Darmestater wrote over a century ago that as the Parsis are the ruins of a people, so are their sacred books the ruins of a religion. Had Constantine accepted Mithraism on his deathbed, Zoroastrianism would not be the forgotten religion it is today. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind Saib Kavis Desai. You've given us a lot of information, and I hope when people listen to the recording, they will be able to pick from that a deeper understanding of Ahura Mazda. Our next speaker today is Mobadyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri. The shortest bio I have ever seen reflects one of the biggest pillars of Zoroastrian teaching, at least in Iran today. Mobadyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri, in her words, is a general practitioner and doctoral candidate in Iranian ancient languages who performs Zoroastrian rituals. She is a teacher, a researcher, and an author in ancient Iranian texts, especially the Avesta and children's educational materials. you will find a depth of information about Mobadyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri on the internet. And as you listen to her today, I hope you'll find a deeper appreciation of Ahura Mazda. Hama Zorbim, Hama Ashobim, Mobadyar Rashin. If you'd like to start with a prayer, please feel free to do so. And then give us your talk.
मोनाल हमारी टोपी आप बनवानी
Thank you.
हमारी बनवानी टोपी आप
Thank you, dear Dr. Karishma. Mazda. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here among such distinguished speakers and seekers of truth. I'm deeply grateful to the organizers of this panel, especially dear Dr. Karishma, for creating this space where we can share, reflect, and learn from each other about one of the most important and fundamental Zoroastrian religious questions: who or what is Ahura Mazda? At first, I would like to begin by composing a Gatha's verse that describes Ahura Mazda.
We can't hear anything, Dr. Rashinjan.
Yes, I want to share, but I don't find the.
You need to share your screen.
Yes.
So do you see a little green box that says share with an arrow on it at the bottom of your Zoom window? Oh, are you already in PowerPoint?
Yes, I find this.
Okay, so then click on it and yeah, there you go.
Yes, thank you. Schnautra Ahura Mazda. Yasna 45.6. At Fravach Shia Vispanam Mazishtem Stavas Asha Yehudao Yoi Henti Spental Mainu Srautu Mazda Ahuro Yehya Wahme Wohu Frashi Manangha Ahya Khratu Froma Salstu Vahishta. I will proclaim the greatest one of all, praising true truth, him who is magnificent toward the existing. Let Mazda Ahurat, whose laudation I hold counsel with good thought, listen to it by the beneficent spirit. Let him teach me the best things through his intellect. Part 1. Ways to know Ahura Mazda. One translation of his name at its two parts. In Avesta, the name is Ahura Mazda. In Old Persian is Ahura Mazda. In Parthian, Aramazd. In Pahlavi, Ormazd or Hormezd. And in New Persian, Ormazd. There are two main views on meaning the name of Ahura Mazda and its two parts. One traditional view, the great wise creator, the creator of existence, the part Ahura, and the great wise, the part Mazda. And modern academic view, the wise lord or the lord of wisdom, part Ahura is the lord, and wise as an adjective or wisdom as a noun for Mazda. And with translation of the Yatahu or Ahunavar prayer, Yasna 27.13,
We know the meaning of this part. I just say a brief of the meaning of this prayer. So according to this Avestan prayer or mantra, who is Ahura Mazda? Ahura, the Lord, who is patron Ahu, worth choosing Vairyo, therefore the power Kshatrayam in committed to him, who is as a shepherd, as Vastar or here Vastarem for the needfuls of support. And Mazda, the wise one, who passes judgment as Ratush on the actions Shialthanana of good thought, Wangheush Mananko of the word Angheush, because Ahura is the patron worth choosing. His judgment is according to truth, Ashat Chit Hacha. And another ways of knowing the Ahura Mazda is in Gathas. Through looking and thinking about the existence and the word of creation, eye of the head. In Yasna 31.8, it is a short but complete introduction of Ahura Mazda when Ashuzartosht grasped with his eye him at the actions. And these actions such as creation, judgment, granting the boons of both existence and supporting. In this part, we understand that Ahura Mazda, the primal one, is also the youthful through his thought, similar to ستایشن یکتا خداوند or ستایشن یکتا خدای. فنام و ستایش ای اوی همی بود و همی هست و همی به. In the name and praise of him who always was, always is, and always will be. Another meaning of this, Abda and Ave Anjam, beginningless and endless. The father of good thought, Wangheush Ptare Manangho, the true establisher of truth, Haithim Ashahya Daumim, the Lord of the existence or world, Angheush Ahura. And Sa'di has a poem about this. In Persian is برگ درختان سبز پیش خداوند هوش هر ورقش دفتری است معرفت کردگار. Another way for understanding Ahura Mazda in Gata is through inner insight, thinking and learning his word or mantra, eye of the heart. In Yasna 28.11, Mazda Ahura with his mouth Eonka, and in accordance with his spirit, Main Yu teaches Ashuzartosht the alleges through which he created the first existence. In Yasna 31.6, the best power shall be to him, the knowing one, Vidva, who tell me the true or Haithi mantra, implying integrity, Harvatato, and immortality, Amritatascha, of truth. That power shall be to the Mazda, which he shall make grow through the good thought. Part 2, Ahura Mazda, Spenta Mainyu, and 6 Amisha Spentas. Ahura Mazda is the creator of the 6 creature spirits known as the Amisha Spentas, who are manifestations and characteristics of him. They form a harmonious and powerful heptagon with the Spenta menu. In Yasna 29.10, Ahura grants strength through truth, and that power through good thought by which one can establish comfortable dwellings and peaceful conditions. In Haptang Haiti, Yasna 35.1, we say we celebrate or Yazamate the Ahura Mazda, the truthful judge, or Ratum or Rad of truth, and the beneficent immortals, Amesha Spenta or Amahraspandan. The spiritual and metaphorical relationship of Ahura Mazda to the 6 Amisha Spentas. In Yasna 31.8 and 45.4, Ahura Mazda is the father of good thought. Van Keushptar Mananko, he's the true establisher of truth. Haiti Mashahya Damim, the primal father of truth. Pata Shahya Pauruyo, and in Yasna 45.4, Armaiti is his richest daughter. Hoi Dugeda Hushialthana Armaitish. Spenta menu is the active principle of Ahura Mazda's creation and beneficence, and is the closest manifestation of to him. In Yasna 28.1, the Asher Zartosht's request of Ahura Mazda is actions of the spirit beneficent, Spenta menu through truth. And in other verses, Ahura Mazda with the spirit beneficent, which is in instrumental case, are the creator of all, Vispa Datare. This close proximity has led to him sometimes being identified with Ormazd in Zoroastrian tradition. We say Spenta Mainu and Daraj Mainu Van Mainu, Khwadesh Yak Nam Ormazdaj, who is the spirit beneficent. Spenta Mainu also is a spirit among the spirits. He himself has one name that is also Ormazd. In part 3, the methods of praising Ahura Mazda. Asher Zartush gave the new ways to praise of Ahura Mazda. One is theological ritual praise. We can say in Yasna 28.1, with hands outstretched in reverence for him, I request, O Mazda. In 28.3, Asher Zartush with a new way, Apaurim, to extol wants the support of Mazda Ahura and the truth and the good thought after he calls them. Another way is a praise through goodness in behavior and with service to the world. In 28.2, serving Mazda Ahura with good thought is the wish of Asher Zartush. 33.14, the best gift to the Mazda from us is the vitality of our bodies and the excellence of our good thoughts and our actions in spirit by truth, and our obedience to the divine statement and our own power. In 34.1, the action, the word, the sacrifice, and are offered to Ahura Mazda by Asher Zartush and others in a very great number. Part 4 is about the characteristics of Ahura Mazda in relation at first in relation to creation and its maintenance. First, the creator of all, Ahura Mazda, the primal one, Paurio, who conceived these comforts, Huathra, flooded, sorry, you can see here, flooded with light Rauchebish, who is the establisher of truth, down Mish Hashem, by his intellect, Chrathwa, by which one holds on the best thought, Vahishtem Manu. In a Kushti prayer in Pazand, we say Wana Fashom Achwan Ashwan, the best of existence, روشن گرودمان همه خوارمان اول رساد یا دادار ارمست. Our wish is to get to the best existence, which is created by the establisher of truth, our Mazda or Mazd, that is full of comforts, that is flooded with lights for the truthful people who hold on to the best thought, Vahishte Mano or Garodman. In Yasna 31:11, Mazda fashions the fundamentals for us, Getik, Gaithalstra, and Menok, Dynalstra, or views, through his thought and the intellects. Mazda grants Osis vitality as Vantem Ushtane. Mazda determines the ritual actions and pronouncements, Shiauthanacha saying Hanscha, at which one takes his choices, Varening, and forms his wishes, Vasa. As the creator, supporter, and preserver of Asha, Ahura Mazda, the establisher of truth, Ahura Mazda, the primal one, the true establisher of truth, and Mazda tells the true mantra, Ahura Mazda, the truthful judge, Ratum or Rad of truth, the skilled designer. This is important for me. In Yasna 43.5, Mazda Ahura makes the actions and statements Ukhda have their prize, Mijdava, at the final turn of the word. And this is from his skill, Hunara, in Persian, Hunar. That assessing evil to the evil one, but a good reward to the good one. Akem Akai Vanguhim Ashim Vanghaube. And in Yasna 44.5, Ahura Mazda is the artist, Wapa, who create both light and darkness, both sleep and waking, and dawn, noon, and nightfall, reminding the the person of his duties. Ahura Mazda is the first and last one of all. In Yasna 31.8, Ahura Mazda, the primal one, Paurim, is also the youthful Yezum through his thought. This is the important part of this Yasna. And the 43.5, Mazda Ahura is the primal one and the beneficent or Spenta who engaged in the procreation Zanthoi of life. Real and eternal supporter, Yasna 33.6, Asher Zartosh wishes to enjoy Ahura Mazda's sight, Dash Toish, and counsel with him. Hem Parish Toish, and this is the best supports for Asher Zartosh. Yasna 33.13. Ahura's supporting power, Rafid Rai, one of his peculiarities and Ashuzartush wishes is a reward of good thoughts. Mazda is the only one who, by knowledge of the bequests and legacies of good thought, turns any misfortune and any griefs into the favorable conditions through the truth. So we always need his support. And in another Yasna 43:14, Mazda, like a man who is progressed and has command and would grant a friend, Friai, grants his prudent support, Rafeno, which obtained through his power and in accordance with truth. And here is the is a part about the Spento menu and Angra menu, but I think I don't have enough time. I say short about this. The material world Getik itself has no evil and no bad because it is built on Asha, the order and law of the cosmos, and by Ahura Mazda. Evil is a kind of spirit, needs human being to activate and create bads and comes from human choices. When our decisions, thoughts, words, or deeds move away from the path of Asha, evil appears and influences our internal and external world. Evil first shows itself in the spiritual realm of the human being, where our mind and the will exist. Then its results may also be seen in all material world. Therefore, the sources of activation, growth, stable residence of this evil, and all of the responsibility of this evil's activations belongs to the individual. Each person shapes their own destiny through their choices. To be Ashevan, to have and enjoy Vahishta Mano, or to be Drekvand, to stay at the Achishto. And these are the verses of the Gatha about two menu, and I think it's better for me to speak a little about this. The most important for me is the Yasna 30.6, particularly the Devas do not rightly discriminate between these two spirits. Since delusion comes over them, will they hold counsel so that they choose or Verenata wars through Achishtaman. Therefore, they gather at very Aeshemem, by which the mortals seeken the word. And I believe the Devas are humans who accept evil to stay at their spiritual words, like mind, decision, word, and non-spiritual like deed and action. We have a story in Shahnameh about Akvan Div, Dastan Akvan Div, and here we read همه واژگونه بود کار دیو که فریاد رست باد گیهان خدیو تو مر دیو را مردم بد شناس کسی کو ندارد ز یزدان سپاس هر آن کو گذشت از ره مردمی ز دیوان شمر یا شمر مشمر از آدمی. And here says everything upside down was the work of the demon. May the Lord of the world come to help, know the evil person as a demon, because he shows no thanks to God. Anyone who leaves the path of humanity count him as a demon and not as a human. And at this part, we said Ahura Mazda is the wisest, the best, benevolent, and generous. And these are the verses which can find this characteristics about Ahura Mazda. And he is the strongest, the biggest, firm and steadfast, just and trustworthy, and undeceivable. Like his Ash Auja, very strong one, and Ahura Mazda, through his power, Shatra, makes real the word perfect in value, frashem or fresh card, which we said fresh card. And these are another characteristic about Ahura Mazda, and the most important is Yasna 31:13. Mazda retained everything, or happened open or secretly with the ray of his eyes. He overlooks or watches in all through truth. And another verses in Gata about these characters. And the last part, part 5, it's about the characteristics of Ahura Mazda in relation to human and ethics. Decisive judgment in accordance with the truth. Ahura Mazda is a real judgment, the judge about our actions. And we read in Yasna 51:13. For such behavior, the view soul or dana of the deceitful one will miss the reality of the straight path. Eresh Haithim, he has strayed from the path of truth, Ashahya patho, by his own actions and those of his tongue. Another characteristics is friendship, support, and patronage. We can see in Yasna 46:2, O Lord, watch over it and give it the rafedrem or patronage that a friend should give to a friend. He had free they did. About the justice, trust, and friendship. Yasna 28:10. Mazda Ahura knows by virtue of truth and good thought who to be just and honest, and gains the desire of them. And the truth is justice, and good thought is honesty. And about comfort and deprivation of it, based on the truth being deprived of Ahura Mazda's support, remaining outside his realm of comfort and remaining in the worst existence, are the results of choosing Angramenu by the followers of falsehood. And in Yasna 30:4, we can see this. When these two spirits meet, determines his first existence, vitality, Gaim, or lack of it, agility, and how his existence will be at the last. Yathacha Ankat Apemem Ankush. That of the deceitful or Dregvantam will be very bad achishto, but best thought Vahishtem Mano will be in store for the truthful one Ashalne. And thank you for your attention. And I have a small poem about Shahnameh, and I read it if I have time at last of the panel.
Thank you very much, Badiar Jahangiri, for that. After the 10-minute presentations, of each speaker, there will be 3 minutes per speaker, as we have said to each speaker. And maybe in that session, you can share your poem. Thank you. Our next speaker is Jahangir Sarosh, the final speaker in this 3-session webinar on understanding Ahura Mazda. I'm very grateful to Dr. Behram Pastakia and to my mummy Jaru for suggesting Jahangir's name for this session. And when you hear him, I think you will understand why they suggested him as a speaker. Jahangir has given us a little about his perspective, which I'll read to you. Through his peace and reconciliation work with local, national, European, and international interfaith organizations, Jahangir Sarosh has had the privilege of engaging with religious leaders, some holding the highest positions in their own organizations and representing their traditions. He has also interacted with seekers and practitioners from many walks of life. These encounters gave Jahangir opportunities not only to listen and learn about their beliefs, but also to reflect more deeply on his own. At the heart of these conversations was a personal question that guided him for many years. Who am I? This inquiry had led Jahangir to explore how different faiths and philosophies speak about the divine, the human self, and the relationship between them. Today, Jahangir says that he would like to share with you some of these insights he has gathered from these encounters and how they have shaped his own understanding of Ahura Mazda. As I have said before, each speaker has received the same draft at the time of invitation. And each one is sharing their own individual perspectives. And in the overlap or the differences between these, I hope you will find your understanding. Over to you, Jahangir. And thank you.
Forgive me, I'll need a little moment to sort myself out. I'm not very good at this.
That's absolutely all right. Don't worry, take your time.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Try one more time. You had successfully shared it earlier in the practice session before we started. So perfect, lovely. Almost. Just click on the presentation now.
Oh, I've lost it. Can you see
Perfect.
it?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Lovely. Okay. You can still see me and hear? No?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
thank you.
Good. Well, first of all, thank you all for being patient with me, because you will need to be patient with me, as I'm not a scholar of any religion or any tradition. For me, this particular offer that you made to me, Karishma, is a journey of inquiry an attempt to understand. The theme of these talks is understanding Ahura Mazda. Understanding implies standing under, implying standing under the authority of. Also, it means to be one with that which one understands or stands under. Standing under rather than grasping, controlling, and categorizing it. It is more about allowing the thing to be known, thus being in a relationship with it. Understanding Ahura Mazda can never be total. Language and the problem of naming the divine. Asking who is Ahura Mazda misleads us into personification. Asking what is Ahura Mazda risks reducing the divine to matter. Names and translations are not the essence. They serve as invitation to an inquiry, not as final answers. Mazda is generally translated as wisdom. However, when Ahura is translated, it has many meanings, and therefore the meaning of Ahura Mazda changes due to the interpretation of Ahura. As Lao Tzu in his Tao Te Ching says, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. Here I would just like to add that we have 101 names of Ahura Mazda, but they are not complete. There is more that can never be explained. The question of self and the divine. The central inquiry, who am I? How can I experience the mystery of the divine, Ahura Mazda? These questions are existential, addressing both personal identity and humanity's spiritual evolution. Only through experience I gain some understanding. If creation evolves, then religious insights cannot be frozen in time. What Zarathustra taught more than 2,000 years ago needs to be understood in the light of humanity's collective wisdom and lived experience today. Ahura Mazda is not a distant deity to be worshipped, but a personal divine principle of wisdom. It is the sustaining mystery, the energy that underlies creation. This energy is indestructible, manifesting in two-fold forms, centripetal or centrifugal, creative or destructive, light or darkness, wisdom or ignorance. One can go on. Creation requires the interplay of opposites, the twin spirits. Humanity's role is to navigate this polarity through free will. Yasna 30:34. Similar dualities appear in Taoism, Yin and Yang, and many other traditions. However, in Zoroastrianism, the duality is not ultimate. It exists within creation, while the source remains one. If I may add, light needs darkness to be seen. Absence of light is not darkness, and absence of darkness is not light. We need both to be able to see. A simple example would be the beautiful stars at night. One could not see them. In fact, one does not see them now with the light pollution. Silence, listening, and the act of choice. Free will requires more than mere hearing. It demands listening. Listening is a total awareness, engaging all senses and the sixth sense of intuition. I can elaborate on that, but time given is 9-10 minutes. Silence opens the possibility of authentic choice, aligning our actions with the deeper rhythm of creation. This echoes meditative traditions in Buddhism and Sufism, where silence is the path to truth. Yasna 30.2. For me, this is the core of Zarathustra's teaching. This verse can be read as follows. Listen and reflect with an enlightened mind, the light of your Dana, true self, and choose good. To me, this implies do not abdicate your responsibility, not even to the scriptures. Ahura Mazda does not control, but liberates. Responsibility rests with the individual, guided by inner light. Spiritual liberation, not submission, is the gift of Ahura Mazda. I repeat, spiritual liberation, not submission, is the gift of Ahura Mazda. When these components, the Fravashi, self, spirit, and mind, are in balance, wisdom emerges naturally. Actions become deliberate and accountable, not automatic or forced, but attuned to the demands of the present moment. Fravashi, a direct relationship between the divine and the self. Fravashis are described as life givers and maintainers of the world. This highlights the dual responsibility of humans, maintaining their own existence while contributing to the cosmic order. Interplay of spirit and thought. When conscious thought is aligned with spirit, the divine shines through. The operative word here is conscious thought. Just now 31. The nature of wisdom. Wisdom is deeper than intelligence, knowledge, or information. It is the capacity to perceive interconnectedness, foresee consequences, and act with love. As Tenzhu said, wisdom is not only the realization of the self, it is also the best way to demonstrate the love of humanity. Wisdom is intrinsic to happiness, enabling harmony, presence, and acceptance. Freedom, wisdom, and happiness, an interwoven triad. Freedom, the gift of choice, the essence of human dignity. Wisdom, the compass guiding freedom towards truth and harmony. Happiness, the fruit of wise, free, and loving action. These three cannot be separated. Freedom without wisdom is chaos. Wisdom without freedom is sterile. Happiness without either is an illusion. Together, they constitute the heart of the joy of just being. Ahura Mazda, the dwelling place of wisdom. Through good thought and right action may we reach the dwelling of light. Yasna 28, according to Humbug. The journey of the self is not outward but inward, towards recognition of what already is. Ahura Mazda is not remote but immanent, sustaining both humanity and cosmos. Each moment offers the opportunity for fresher clarity of the individual and the cosmos through choice. We change according to our choice. In silence listening and harmony of the self, spirit, and mind, wisdom arises. In wisdom, freedom blossoms into happiness, and in happiness, the oneness of all beings with the divine becomes clear. Then, I am what you are, and you are what I am. This is the dwelling place of wisdom, our true home. Rumi put it, if the light is in your heart, you will find your way home. Thank you.
You can speak on it.
Thank you very much, Jahangir. You wanted to comment on, to elaborate on the statement. Would you like to do so now, or would you like to do so in the 3 minutes?
I can't remember what I was going to elaborate on.
We'll come back. I'll ask you that later. Thank you very much to each of our speakers who has helped us understand the deeper essence of Ahura Mazda. So that when we Zoroastrians do our Kasti prayers and say, Tvam mat atrascha manangascha, yaya shotnaisha shem trauscha, Ahura, through your fire and mind, whose actions righteousness increases, Ahura, we will now understand a little bit better what we are alluding to when we say Ahura Mazda. Once again, I'm grateful to my mum for presenting this idea at the 8th World Zoroastrian Youth Congress hosted by the ZTFE in London a couple of years ago. And it is in the wisdom that the youth have, as guided by our seniors as well, that together we will understand further and pass it on to not just the next generation of Zartushtis, but pass on a deeper understanding of Ahura Mazda in the world at large, so they understand what Zartushti wisdom is. This now brings us to each speaker who would like to share anything further or a takeaway, who will be given up to 3 minutes each. So let us start with our first speaker and then move through the series of speakers. If they're not here for some reason, then we'll just move on. And then we will come to specific questions from the audience for individual speakers. And then we will move on to the audience unmuting yourselves and sharing your takeaways or your own understanding of Ahura Mazda, ideally with some reference. But if it's just something your parents or grandmother or grandfather taught you, then that will be fine. So, Mabadyar, Mashad, have you got any takeaways? You have 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to share your takeaways, please. Kawa Sahib, would you like to go now? If Mashad, Mabadyar, back,
The biggest problem that I see is with the translation of the Avesta. Because there are so many different versions of Avesta. For one thing, we do not even know whether Avesta is a language. We know the Sanskrit and Gathic Avesta, Vedic Sanskrit and Gathic Avesta were sister languages. Martin Hogue said that the Avestic language is the older sister of Sanskrit. But yet, we use Sanskrit to understand Avesta, because Avesta has been a dead language for thousands of years. Even the meaning of the word Avesta, where does the word Avesta come from? Some people say it comes from Abhistag, the book. But does the language come from the book? Avis, to know, is the book of knowledge. So we do not even know, we don't even know the meaning of that. And that is the biggest problem that we have. All of our religious literature has been destroyed on 3 different occasions. And what existed before has been lost to us. And it's only now that Western scholars are beginning to come to it. And even then, there are differences because, as Faribuz Ranamun pointed out, there's a tendency of bringing their own biases into the translations. When you look at Gatha Ha 44, Tata Thoa Eresha Moi Vaucha Ahura. Tell me truly, O Zarathustra, O Ahura, do you think the Zarathustra is saying that Ahura is not going to tell him truly? Or should the translation be, verily I ask thee, Ahura, what are these answers? Verily I ask thee. So how many different translations are there? And this I see is the biggest problem that we have in Zoroastrianism today.
Thank you. Mobadyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri, you have up to 3 minutes to give your takeaways or a response to any of the other speakers.
Yes, I share the last part of my PowerPoint, and this is I think it's a introduction in Persian literature about the Ahura Mazda, I think, because it's similar. It's the introduction to the story of Kamus Kashani in Shahnameh. In Persian is به نام خداوند خورشید و ماه که دل را به نامش خرد داد راه. خداوند هستی و هم راستی نخواهد ز تو کژی و کاستی. خداوند بهرام و کیوان و شید از اویم نوید و بدویم امید. ستودن مرو را ندانم همی از اندیشه جان برفشانم همی. از او گشت پیدا مکان و زمان پی مور بر هستی او نشان. ز گردنده خورشید تا تیر خاک دگر باد و آتش همان آب پاک به هستی یزدان گواهی دهند روان تو را آشنایی دهند. ز هرچ آفریده است او بی نیاز تو در پادشاهیش گردن فراز. ز دستور و گنجور و از تاج و تخت ز کمی و بیشی و از ناز و بخت همه بی نیاز است و ما بنده ایم به فرمان و رایش سرافکنده ایم. شب و روز و گردان سپهر آفرید خور و خواب و تندی و مهر آفرید. جز او را مدان کردگار بلند کزو شادمانی وزو مستمند.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll now ask Jahangir Sarosh for his takeaways. Again, Jahangir, up to 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I would like to offer here is twofold. One is listening. I think listening is very, very important because one really hears with every organ of the body. When you are having a dialogue with an individual or within yourself, listening enables you to be able to see. This is one of the reasons why physical meetings are far superior than Zoom meetings, number one. Number two, when you're smelling, you can smell whether the person is telling the truth or not. Therefore, the feeling, therefore you can say quite clearly that that smells fishy, or So you can understand that. Similarly, the smell is also very important because being together, one is able to experience the feeling that comes from seeing, smelling, hearing, etc. So I would advocate that more focus is given on listening. And the other point I would like to mention is what is can be connected to. As we know that the Fravashi is within us, the Fravashi is the same as the ultimate Fravashi. And the way to be able to connect with them, I feel, is when we stop carrying the burden of yesterday and the fear of tomorrow. Then we are. Thank you.
Yes, the brain does take a moment to listen properly, and sometimes we need to give it that moment. Thank you, Jahangir. We'll now hand over to our participants. Each one of you here today is an important part of this dialogue, this panel that the North American Morbid Council has put together. You are part of that panel. So please feel free to raise your hand, then unmute yourself and share your question to the participants or a takeaway that you have from the session. We'll then come to another section after that when individuals can share their understanding of Ahura Mazda. But for now, your question to the panelists and your takeaway from their talks. If you'd like to share, do that. Armita is a Mobidyar from California. Mobidyar Armita Dalal. Please go ahead. It would be lovely if you could turn your cameras on so the world could actually see our computers.
I'm afraid I will scare the audience if I, show my camera. So excuse me for not, doing that. But thank you so much. I was listening to Jahangir, and I feel that sometimes during the talks, I hear so many scientific information that the essence of the subject matter gets diluted. And I would like to really appreciate, I extend my gratitude for hearing that the meaning and the essence and the feeling come together. And the beginning of the Avestai Koshti to me also, Tanio Ravani Gitio Menu is the combination of both. And I really appreciate that. And I feel like I understand the essence of the subject matter deeper that way. I wanted to send my gratitude. My question to Jahangir in particular is, how does he practice to get that feeling of understanding Ahura Mazda? What is his practice? Thank you.
You need to unmute, Jahangir. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I think meditation is very important. And our prayers, the gathas, when sung, are beautiful mantras. And I would highly recommend individuals to listen to the mantras when an individual priest, dastur person is singing them. A few years ago, Karishma sent me a reading from Dastur, Kekovat Dastur. Before that, I used to listen to the Sanskrit mantras. But since she sent me that, it has changed me completely. I enjoy that mantra. That particular meditation and being able to be silent is the key. It's really, silence is greater than anything else. And to reach the inner soul, as we may call it, to connect with the self, to get an understanding of who am I. And you can only get glimpses of it because we move away in the thought world, which is very, very different. So I would highly recommend you to listen to our mantras. I despair at some of the jasans where we have beautiful presentation of so many dastus, but they are not praying in harmony. And I cannot connect with that. That I miss in our jashans and ceremonies. So listening, I come back to again. Thank you.
Interesting, Jangir. Your answer has in many ways paraphrased Yasna 43, verse 15 of the Gathas. So for those of you who may know what 43:15 says, it says, that which is best is Ushnamaitish, the quiet, contented thought, or what we can consider a meditative practice today. It also talks about the power of listening, because that verse reflects back on verse 7 from that Gatha, talking about Sarosh, the concept of Sru, to listen. So thank you very much for that answer, Jangir, and for paraphrasing what Zarathustra Sahib has said thousands of years ago. Over to you, Ervat Firdosh Dhabar. Thank you.
Thank you, Karishma. And I also want to thank the NAMC and our speakers for another lovely session. It's also nice to see some of the other regulars, although I wish more of the cameras were turned on like Karishma keeps wishing. In any way, my question was for my dear Ervat Kavas Desai. Kavas, regarding the short video on vibrations that you shared, we could not clearly hear the sound with the video. So what was it that you were trying to show? Where can one find the clip on the internet? And what was the point you were making with it?
We believe, that the vibrations create that the vibrations of the Athavaryo were the same vibrations that created the Big Bang. That's what the Shumists believe. And this was a video that somebody sent it to me. I don't know where they got it. But years ago, I had heard Khojeshte Mistry in one of his talks saying that he had prayed the Athavaryo prayer when it was recorded on a tonoscope, which is an instrument which shows the vibrations. And he had indicated that there was all kinds of various designs, circular designs that emanated from it. This was said to me many, many years ago by somebody. I don't know whether it's monitored, whether it is true, whether it is not true. But what it shows, and I will share it again over here. Let's see if I can. It's not there. It's no. It's lost. I can't get it back. It shows the vibrations. It shows the patterns of the vibrations of the Athavaryo. Is what it shows.
Thank you. We could see some of the movements. That was, but the sound, at least for me, didn't come through.
I don't know whether I can bring it back or not. I'm going to try and see.
And thank you, though, even if you can't bring it back. Thank you for the further explanation. I now remember, I think you might have mentioned it during one of our NAMC meetings too.
I'd be happy to send it to you, Firdosh, and then you can
that would be great.
Take on that. Sure, I'll send it off to you.
Thank you, Kavas. Thanks, Karishma. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. If anybody, the concept of using a tonoscope or research like this is very, very advanced today, with physicists using different sound generators to create vibrations, whether they be with water or different. This, I think, was on water or something like that. But it's an extremely advanced science. And I'm very grateful, Kava Sahib, for you pointing that out, and to Jangir for pointing out that when the Matravani is created as a resonant whole during a jashan, there may be huge power that we can all resonate with and experience the jashan. If anybody else would like to share either a question to the speakers, a takeaway from the talk, or now let's move on to the section where you can share your own interpretations on Ahura Mazda, or what you seek inspiration from in your belief system. This is the time. Just raise your digital hand and unmute straight away. Otherwise, I see cameras on, so then I'll invite you by name. Yes, Auntie Roshan knows I'm talking about her and Uncle Rohinton. Yes, Uncle Rohinton, Auntie Roshan, over to you as a final word, and then we'll stop the recording, and anyone who is very shy may then want to speak. We'll welcome that also.
Yeah, Karishma, this has been a very, very thought-provoking and inspiring Sunday morning. And, we really don't have any thoughts as such, but it's interesting to listen to everybody and think about all these things. But thank you, Karishma, for
Yeah.
organizing this.
I might suggest that put AI to use and make a short summary of all these talks, paragraph or so, and circulate. That'll be very helpful.
Will do. Thank you very much. The chat has a comment from a gentleman in India, Vivo V2111. Would you like to unmute yourself, sir, and read out your comment yourself? Tame comment kari sako? Would you like to unmute Karine? Haan ji, bolo ji. Thank you.
I do not have comment anything, but for me, I feel when you connect to your Parvashi and the nature, you are connected to Ahura Mazda. Better connected to Ahura Mazda. That I feel. Another thing, when we leave our body presence, still our Parvashi is with us. Thus, our Parvashi come back to earth to perform, or it stays as a celestial being in universe. That is the understanding, a short understanding which I lack.
We will address your very important question. Thank you for that, sir. We will address this very important question to whoever would like to pick it up. For the context for this, while you create your answers in your head, I would request our speakers to think about this and then address it. For those of you who follow the Zoroastrian, I would call it a celebration of life, but it's also gratitude to the dead. The time of Muktad, which is 10 days before Navroz, or again a couple of months later, celebrated on the Fravardigan day, the day when the Roj and the month are the same, but in this case, the name of that is the Farvardin, representing the Fravashi, the essence of Ahura Mazda in each creation. At this time, prayers are said for the Fravashi or the Urvan, the soul, or both, according to different priests and different scholars. So there are different interpretations. So the question now is, does the Fravashi leave of the individual and merge with the great Ahura Mazda, the great Fravashi, which the texts do refer to, Or, according to some others, because we seek help from Fravashis, the gentleman asks, do the Fravashis come down to this plane to continue some good work? A very, very important linking us directly to the concept of Ahura Mazda. Thank you, sir. Erbat Saib, Kavas, Desai, Jangir, Firdosh. Yes, go ahead, Erbat.
Mr. Vivo also had another question about wanting to work for nature conservation and if he can get a guide. Is there someone who could maybe help him with that?
If you put your email address or WhatsApp number into the chat, there is a wonderful lady who has regreened the Dungarwadi in Bombay, and I could put you in touch with her. An incredible soul. So if you could put some way of contacting you, thank you, Ervat Firdosh, for that.
No problem. I was thinking also of the same person, but I don't know her. So that's great that you can do that for him. Thank you.
I will put you in touch with Dr. Rush. You put your details into the chat. Dr. Rashne Pardiwala, and you'll be able to find her details even if you don't want to give me your details in the chat. Her name is Dr. Rashne Pardiwala, and you will be able to find her details, but I can send them to you. Okay, now coming back to this very important question. Any scholar who wishes to comment upon this, the idea of whether the Fravashi departs on death to merge with Ahura Mazda and can return to the physical plane to help or to do some good. Yes, Aisha, is that an answer from you or a comment from you on this? Please go ahead.
It's a question. I'm going back to the speaker.
Could we just hold on for 2 minutes? Let's give Kavas Sahib the opportunity to address this question, and I'll come straight back to you.
Absolutely.
And thank you. Thank you, Aisha. Yes, Kavas Sahib.
The question is, what is the Fravashi? How do you define Fravashi? It's been defined in various ways. The Ruan is the soul. But what is the Fravashi? I believe that the Fravashi is a conscience of the soul. The Fravashi is a part of divinity which is within you. And that is immortal. It's not something that dies. It is something that is absolutely immortal. And it's not a question of it is part of the divine. And as I see, the Fravashi is the conscience of the soul, and it pricks your conscience when you do something wrong. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I believe.
That's fine. Thank you very much for your insight. So according to our scholars, I'll pick up on this question and elaborate for a little bit, only a little bit from my understanding. The Zoroastrian faith uses the concept of choice, var. Var comes into the Vairya in the Yatahu Vairya prayer. It also comes into Urvan, var. So Urvan is that energy which empowers us to choose. An individual has an Urvan. Fravashi and an Urvan is that which also bears the consequence, or in other words, quote unquote, is judged for its choices as we make decisions in our life. So it bears or is part of the bearer of the consequences. As we do, so is the outcome. Athanoangat, vatavo. That is according to Ahura Mazda. And then we also in 43 verse 5, Ake makai vangove. So as is done, so is the outcome. So that outcome is borne by us. However, the Fravashi is that essence of Ahura Mazda in each creation that is not a bearer of the judgment or the consequence. It is so pure because it is part of Ahura Mazda in each one. And thereby, by extension, if one looks at it, according to the Farvardin Yasht particularly, the entire Fravashis put together are connected in some way. That interconnectedness and that absolute continuity through all creation of Ahura Mazda comes through the definition of the Fravashi. So answer your question specifically, sir, about whether the Fravashis come back to the earthly plane. I think both interpretations come out in the Muqtad, that we are praying mainly for the Ruvan, but we are seeking help from Fravashis. But if you look at the definition of Ahura Mazda and Fravashi, when we ask for guidance from either our Fravashi or the Fravashis of the departed, in reality to me, because Fravashis are the essence of Ahura Mazda, we are seeking help from Ahura Mazda. Because is a drop of water different from a large amount of water, or is everything water? So is a Fravashi different from the greater continuum, Ahura Mazda? Is it a part of it, or is it Ahura Mazda in some way? So that is a beautiful question tying us back to the concept of Ahura Mazda. Thank you, sir, for that brilliant insight. Bo mehrbani tamari. Thank you. If anybody comes up with your takeaway on this, it would be immensely valuable, even though you may think it's just a tiny bit of knowledge you may be sharing. It also helps with this concept of conservation indirectly, because when we look after nature, or when in a yasna ceremony we draw water from the well, perform a yasna, and then return the water back to the well to go through the groundwater, it's like what we do in life. We take from nature, we utilize it, we add our goodness to it, and then we share it with the world to make the world a better place. So we are all nurturers of each other and of the universe and of nature, because we see Ahura Mazda in all creation. Aisha, over to you.
Okay, you did come back. I'm very nervous and I'm very new to this. So please excuse if I make any problems. So there was someone who brought up the idea of comfort versus comfort and finding like a home. And my question, and through Ahura Mazda and through our good deeds, we find that home and the comfort. My question is sort of a real world question as to, like, what if so like the dwelling place, correct? So what about the single mom who does all of the good things and is still stuck on the street and is homeless? I related the comfort and the dwelling thing to that, and I'm wondering how, because the mom is not doing evil, she's following Ahura Mazda, and yet she is still in the circumstances. In this case, I'm literally saying without a dwelling, but it can be in any, without the comfort. That's my question. It's a little bit, I don't know, but that's it.
Okay, so let's give our speakers a chance to think this through. Give them a moment to start speaking. When you're ready, speakers, please just unmute yourself.
Do you have any insight into that question?
So Jeru is my mummy, and we'll give her a chance to come back into this, but I'll take it first.
Oh, sorry, I just see the name on my thing.
So I do have an interpretation from Zarathustra Sahib for this particular question. Dwelling in Yasna 44, 16 and 17 is actually a statement that Zarathustra Sahib has referred to, and it is Ahura Mazda dwells where there is, and this is the concept of Ushta Stoi, where there is a state of ushta, happiness, harmony, and goodwill. That bliss that comes from doing good, thinking good, being good. But Zarathustra Sahib says, where there is kshatra and there is Almighty, there is Ahura Mazda. Where there is Almighty and there is Asha, there is Ahura Mazda. Where Sarosh, and this is 4417 particularly, take me there through Sarosh, Sarosh being conscience. Some people say obedience, I say conscience, the inner voice. So let's put that together. Kshatra is not just power of Ahura Mazda. Kshatra is that Kshatrem cha Ahura. But why do we say in the Yatahu Vairyo, help me to take Kshatrem of Ahura forward? Because we have to be the Vastarim, the person who helps. So this person you are referring to, the lady on the street doing good all the time and still without a home, is our responsibility in some way. The person who sees them, it needs to be the Vastarim to help that person to achieve a state of Ushta, for which we need Armaiti, as I understand Zarathustra Sahib's teaching. Aramat is benevolence and kindness, but Aramat is also, by translation, according to the German scholar Guthrie, is Rita, Asha, righteousness. Mat is mindedness, mind. So Aramat is not just devotion and nurturing, but a resolute mind that nurtures and is kind, like the earth. Very resolute. The rock upon which our faith rests is Almighty. So now what does Zarathustra Sahib tell Frashostra in 44:16? O Frashostra, take other people there towards Ushta Stoi. There lives Ahura Mazda, where there is Asha and Almighty. So to answer your question, if we want to manifest Ahura Mazda, it is not just questioning why somebody is without a home, without dwelling, without happiness. But from a Zoroastrian perspective is, how do I manifest Ahura Mazda? To help these people who are in need of help, to be the Vastarim who helps the Drigobyo, as the Yatahu Vairyo says, or as Kavas Desai will correct me, as the Aunavar says. So your question is very valid. It has led to a deeper understanding of the Gathic words of Zarathustra Sahib. But I hope it empowers each one of us to manifest Ahura Mazda, not just to ask why, but what can I do to manifest Ahura Mazda in this difficult circumstance? But not just for other people. Because when Ahura Mazda is referred to by Zarathustra in that phrase, he says, O Fra Ashostra. The person's name he is referring to, one of his disciples, is Fra Ashostra. Try and break that down. Go forward, Fra, through Asha, Asho, Ushtra, towards light. So that phrase tells me that Asho Zarathustra is saying, Frashostra in me, take other people towards Ushtastoi. That's all I can think of right now.
Can I have a response? So then, this is actually a real life example. There is an unhoused person, and I've been living in the same place for 15 years. And I give him food, I buy him groceries and everything like that. And he just sits on the corner and takes donations for whatever, but I give him food, I give him coffee, like whatever. But it's been 15 years and he's still doing that. So I feel like I am definitely trying to give him the light. And he's a good person. He has stopped one of my friend's kids from being hurt by a bad person on the street. But I still wonder about, like, where is his reward? We were talking about rewards. Where is his reward for following light?
Difficult question, but let our speakers come up with an answer. And again, on the contrary, what does Zarathustra Sahib say in Yasna 43 verse, now I don't remember, 51:5. Ask all questions, Vispa questions, all questions in the light of Asha, so that we can progress as a community. Gam Vidat. That is Zarathustra's own words. Ask all questions in the light of Asha. Okay, I'd like one of our speakers to address this with their knowledge, but just to start off, firstly, Ashem Bahu. It is not the reward we seek. The existence is the reward. The doing is the reward. We're righteous for the sake. So this person in his doing is already the reward. He's capable of doing. To address your question from my perspective, he's able to do. He is able to manifest the power of the divine in his goodness. That is the greatest reward. But again, it's not the reward, but the doing, the existing in Asha. That is the key in Zoroastrianism.
That's the effect.
May I interject in here? May I
Pause,
also,
Andy. Yes.
so I have my camera on. I manage. So my thinking, I was listening to Aisha. That's a very profound, good point and very thought-provoking. And that's why I believe the translation of Yata Ahueyu is so much deeper and it's at a divine level. And I have been very hard trying to understand the essence of it. And I think I kind of do, but I feel that Drigu Biu is not necessarily somebody who is materially in the need. Drigu Biu is, my understanding is somebody who is lost, is unaware. And as a spiritual being that I am one of, my role would be, if I have that awareness about Ahura, is to nudge the person who is lost and is unaware. Going back to your homeless person, doesn't matter how much material goods you give him, the food, the comfort. I've seen programs on TV where homeless is given $100,000 and after a few months they go back to where they were. I think they need that awareness, the understanding that this universe doesn't work. There's no one God sitting out there giving me reward or punishment because I've been good or bad. It's my way of connecting to this universe and realizing I'm the essence of this creator and I am it. And I lead my life through my choices, my wise choices that are aligned with Asha, bring me the joy and the ultimate happiness where the wishes come true, which is the Ashambhu prayer. And I feel also it goes back, helping the needy in the material sense is as though giving them the fish to eat and not teaching them fishing. And I think that's where the essence of the teachings of Yata Ahu is. We are so much more, we are part of the divinity, and our role is for our Ravan to find that ultimate existence here on this earth is to be aligned with Asha and find our essence with this higher existence and nudge the ones who are lost, who are unaware. And it's a very divine and powerful message and not at an earthly level. So that has been my understanding of this profound prayer. And I thought of sharing that with you. Thank you.
I love that. I think that's great.
And Aisha, thanks for your question. You didn't cause any trouble. You just sort of significantly enhanced our discussion and learning today. And also, Karishma has put in the chat that if you want to connect. So that would be great.
I will.
Good luck to you.
I was nervous to put my face on and speak.
You're in a very safe space, and the NAMC is providing this safe space. Even though it is being recorded, it's still a safe space because a recording is being shared to develop our good minds.
I think that's why I got the confidence to actually do it.
Very
Splendid, Aisha. Would anybody else like to end this session with another question or takeaway, please? before we stop the recording? Yes, Mobidyar Armita Dalal, go ahead.
A question that always stays with me is the concept of good and bad. And I know this is not the place, but just maybe food for thought for future sessions where we can discuss what is really good and bad. And is it really that we need to understand, or is it something beyond? So I would love to understand the concept of good and bad, and the essence of the Zarathustra's teaching beyond these two words in the future,
Fabulous.
if possible.
We'll take that back to President Ervat Saib Temtar Mirza as a suggestion for a future panel, if you don't mind. And I don't think it's just not for this, it is also for this time, because as Zarathustra Sahib has indicated in the Gathas, that which is good depends on 30.2 says, Vichittaya narem narem kakayat. So each one of you must, this is in 30.2 about listen, which was referred to by Jangir today. And then at the end of that, each one of you needs to do this. But he gives us the answer. He says, Paramaze yongo, before each great circumstance. And then in Yasna 30.3, Zarathustra Sahib says, in order to take spenta mainu forward. So this discretionary power, vichittaya, the chit is to discriminate, to separate, is, I suppose, to address this constant dilemma between the two spirits, good and not good, so that we can choose to put spenta mainu forward. So it's an intrinsic question in the Zoroastrian faith. It is one for us to contemplate, and thank you for the suggestion for a further panel discussion. I think Mitra was mentioned by Jangir during the talk that he gave, and also by Kavas Desai mentioned Mitra. So in Yasna 46.5, Zarathustra Sahib says, in order to discriminate and put forward your covenant, your mitroibyo, and justice, rashna, you need to increase the power of the self, kaitva, like we say in the Jasamya Vange Mazda, kwaitva tatam, like we say in prayers. So this is a concept of increasing the discretionary power of the self through our mighty, interestingly, Zarathustra Sahib says. So we will address this hopefully if given the permission to do so. Jangir, over to you for your final word before we stop the recording. Turn your camera on. I can't see you.
Oh, good. Okay, here I am. I find we make our life unnecessarily difficult. Life is much simpler than quoting others, but even Zarathustra or Jesus or Muhammad, etc. Find yourself who you are. Keep it simple and just be in the moment. As Thich Nhat Hanh says, mindfulness, that is the good mind operating in the moment, because there is no other time when you can act. The moment is the gift that you can utilize. Thank you.
Thank you, Jangir. Would Ervat Kavas Desai or Dr. Rashin, Mobidyar Rashin Jangiri have any takeaway on this before we close? And then we shall stop the recording.
I don't have anything.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, Jangir, on your note of know oneself, the concept of self as in Kaitva, but also resonating that back to Ahura Mazda that resides in the self, or is the self, I suppose. We shall close this meeting, the recorded part, and stay on for any further comments from people who do not wish to be recorded. Thanking the North American Mubbits Council for this opportunity and for the recording, and thanking Mr. Yazdi Tantra of Zoroastrians.net for making it available for the wider world.
Amen.
Is the recording still going?
Would you to be?
I had a question. Go ahead.
We'll do it before the recording is stopped. Go ahead.
I wanted, before I leave, I wanted to hear a sprinkle of wisdom from Joru Auntie, if she had anything to share today. I love those sparks of wisdom that just so spiritual, and it just gets me so grounded. So if you have any wisdom to share with us, I would love to hear. If it comes to you, no pressure. No pressure.
I think it's said so beautifully. Karishma has explained everything. There's very little for me to say, but to bring to everybody's consciousness that Ahura Mazda dwells in each and every creation. There is no creation, not even a stone, which does not have Ahura Mazda. Talk of any creation whatsoever, anything that you can see, anything you can feel, hear, experience, everything has Ahura Mazda. Everything has got consciousness. Everything has got energy and vibration. And energy and vibration are the creators. What else is Ahura Mazda? There is no human entity called Ahura Mazda that we look up and say, oh, Ahura Mazda, please come, help me. Come now. I need you right now. There is no such person. You're only asking your own consciousness to wake up, to do something about something that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
If only one can understand that one should listen, like Jahangir said, one should listen to one's own consciousness, one's own conscience, one's own inner voice.
Yeah.
Then there is nothing left to be said. Am I clear?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marshall.
Armita Jan.
Armita.
Armita. Thank you all for being with us today. The North American Morbets Council is organizing a further session next month in October on the Amisha Spentas, or these attributes of Ahura Mazda that we can embody within ourselves. And then in December, hopefully, there will be a session on what is Asha. And then we'll take it forward from there. Plus the regular monthly lecture series from our knowledgeable elders through the North American Morbet Council continues, with the Yashs next month being explained by Ervat Sahib, I think it's Xerxes Bandara. But please watch the North American Morbets Council website. Thank you.